Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So let me ask you a very important question, and if you get the answer wrong, please watch this video till the very end. So I hope that I have your promise. If you are not ready to make this bet, don't watch this video now, come back to it later. This is one of the most important videos I will do on this channel. So the question is that how much money do you think you need in order to retire or achieve that FIRE number in India? Let's assume that you're 30 years old. Now, okay, 3 seconds I'll give you. Think of your answer and type it down below. Okay, so many of you would have thought that, okay, I need probably like 5 crores, 10 crores, 20 crores. All the answers are wrong. Now, why am I saying it? For this, you need to understand the concept of segmental inflation. Now, मान के चलो कि you pick up a really big number, you work really hard, you are able to save 10 crore rupees. Okay, this is a very big amount as of now, and आपने Excel करके, magic of compounding करके, you have saved this 10 crore rupees. Now, it's 2025, right? And the segmental inflation for you is 10%. And your portfolio, you have just, kept it in a savings account and you are making maybe like 3%. So in a year, you're losing 7% of your portfolio or 7% of the buying power of this money, right? Now, this is one. Now, next year, if the inflation or the year after that, if the inflation or segmental inflation becomes 12%, you are maybe making like 6%, then you lose another 6%, so on and so forth. And if you're 30 years old and you continue to do this exercise for 40 years, you will be left with very less buying power of money here. So, okay, so the correct answer to your problem is that number one, in order to retire or achieve that FIRE, you need to have a big portfolio. How big? I will reveal on this video, or at least give you a sense about it. And second, and more importantly, is that that portfolio should grow at a faster rate than your segmental inflation. तो ये segmental inflation का concept क्या है? That what is this concept of segmental inflation? See, it's very simple. If you just Google that what is the inflation rate in India, you will get the CPI inflation, which is close to 5-6%. That is the average inflation across India. But if you're someone who is living in Delhi, Mumbai, metros, खर्चे ज़्यादा हैं, right? And the inflation for you will be higher. Your kids will go to a private school, extreme high expenditure, healthcare expenses have gone up like crazy, all that stuff. So on an average, now I cannot give you the exact data, right? I mean, this data is not there, that what is the inflation for your segment. But if I have to approximate, then I will tell you that, hey, 10% is the minimum target that you should have in terms of your portfolio. Now you'll say that, Akshat, you are giving me something called as FOMO, fear of missing out, and you are creating so much anxiety in me. How do I do this? Can you share some steps, some guidelines? Now, how I can achieve this along with my full-time job? What is it that I should be avoiding? So in that context, what I'm going to do on today's video is that I'm going to honestly share my investment journey with you in terms of my age, that how much is my net worth, what my cash flow situation is like, how my portfolio is doing. I'll give you an overview. Why is this very important? Because people watch my videos and then they blindly copy me, right? Blindly copy ka matlab ki today if I'm buying HDFC Bank, then people will also buy it. And if I'm doing something else, then people might do that also कि भाई घर खरीद लेते हैं, Akshat is buying something. See guys, my goal is to guide you. My goal is not to give you FOMO. So in that context, please watch this video very carefully. I'm going to honestly share everything, right? From my net worth building perspective, how my portfolio changed when I was 25-year-old and when I became 30, then I became 35. What is it that I have been thinking about? What are some new things that I'm learning? So I'll have a very honest commentary around that. So okay, so let's begin. Basically, your investment strategy should be such, it should be akin to building a very good house. Okay. Now, for example, if you're looking to build a very good house, what is it that you should keep in mind? Well, there is something called as neve or foundation. If the foundation of your house is really good, then you will get a very strong house. But if the neve of the house or the foundation of the house is really shallow to begin with, you can build the most beautiful house. It might just collapse right after a few years. So the idea in investing is also very similar, that you are investing not just for you, you are investing for your next generation, the generation after that. You should assume that and make your investment actions accordingly. So this is the thought process with which I operate. I am not creating my portfolio just for me. I am creating it for my kids, for my grandkids, all that stuff. Maybe I'll not be successful at it, but this is the vision with which I am operating, and you also need to start thinking about it. Because इसमें होता है क्या है कि then you do not get into that FOMO. You know what? Today only I have to buy like this stock, or I missed like a 5% rally on this particular stock. What should I do? Right? Because you're thinking absolutely in a narrow terms. So the golden rule of investing, according to me, or the thought process in which I believe, is that, hey, I'm investing for my next generation and the generation after that. So my goal is to stay alive in the market for as long as possible. Okay. So therefore, I do not do FNO. I only do it from a hedging perspective. I do not do much trading, all that stuff. I do a pure macro flow based investing. And that is what I teach on my courses vagara also, in case some of you are interested. Some of you have a big portfolio, for example 5-10 lakhs super. Then if I can be of help in terms of helping you learn in a structured manner, then you can definitely consider joining some of my courses. I'm putting the links in the description and comment box. So moving on to what my investment journey has looked like, I can divide my investment journey into 5 phases. The first phase was my early mutual fund phase. So when I was maybe like 2021, I started teaching for GMAT because I had a 770 on the GMAT, and I used to get some private clients, and say, per month I was making like maybe somewhere between 25,000 to 50,000 back somewhere in 2009-10, somewhere around that. And at that point in time, I did not know much investing. So what was my viewpoint? Well, my viewpoint was, yeah, you know what, कुछ तो invest कर ही देते हैं, right? I mean, I'm getting the money, so let us invest somewhere. This is what my mom encouraged me to do. So I ended up investing in mutual funds. Now, during that time, I had absolutely zero clue of what is the difference between direct plan, mutual fund, regular plan. So mutual fund agents used to come and, check kar do. What I used to do was that, okay, let's look at the 5-year return of this falana deemka mutual fund, and whichever fund has done well in the last 5 years, I'll invest there and be done. Okay. So that is what I did. And kuch फालतू फंड भी पकड़ लिए थे, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फंड्स पकड़ लिए एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ, एंड जस्ट लाइक आई probably would have invested maybe like 5 lakh or something like this. Now probably in my early phases every year I would have been investing maybe like 1 to 2 lakh, something like this, and I did not lose, but I at least lost like maybe 20%, something like this. And it was just a bad phase. After sticking with my mutual fund journey, which was step 1, I realized that, boss, I have to learn about direct equity investing. So which prompted me to learn about buying blue chip companies. Now, what are blue chip companies? Basically, these are HDFC Bank types, Hindustan Unilever type of stocks, all that stuff. So I thought कि चले यार directly कर लेते हैं, and I opened my account in ICICI, right? So ICICI Bank का DMAT account I opened, and I used to buy some blue chip stocks. So this was my step 2. That first step was mutual fund. I had a bad experience. Second step was buying direct equities. Now I did that for 2-3 years, and I made decent amount of returns. The reason was that the market was growing during that time. This was post 2008 crisis, or 2009 to 2014. There was a good growth rate, and all the blue chip stocks that I had purchased, they also went up, and I felt very happy that, I'm a good stock picker, that stuff. Okay. Then I moved to step 3, and this is where I started making decent money because I had graduated from INSEAD and I had already done a little bit of consulting job. I worked abroad, so मेरे पास थोड़ा बहुत पैसा आ गया था, right? So maybe somewhere in tune of 40-45 lakhs, right? So I was getting, this was the amount of saving that I could do back in the day through my job, right? So this was all done on job, right? And then what I did was that I purchased my first commercial property in the city where I'm from. So I'm from Gwalior. So that commercial property would have costed me maybe like 10-15 lakhs, somewhere around that. So I purchased that. And that was my first real estate purchase, right? So this was my phase 3. Now phase 4 was when I started actually creating companies. So this must have been somewhere around 26-27. And I was able to build my first business, and I used to coach people to go abroad and study at foreign universities. So many of my students have graduated from Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, these type of institutes. So I used to coach them, and this paid me very good money, right? And this was a business which was successful for me, and I was able to make cash flows. So this was the 4th part of my journey where I started getting an understanding of managing sort of slightly bigger money in excess of 1 CR. So now the good thing was that this phase was somewhere around like maybe around 2017, 2018. So I did this for 2-3 years. Then 2020 COVID crisis happened. And that is when I was able to almost 2.5 times my portfolio, whatever I had been investing for the last 1 decade. So that is how I ended up building a big portfolio. Now, many of you would be of the view that Akshat, reveal your portfolio. Guys, that's not the point. It is good. It is a multi-million-dollar portfolio. But honestly, kitne $1 million hai, what will you get by knowing that? It's pretty much pointless, and there is no point in me creating that FOMO in you. So let's leave that aside. All I will try to portray is that, see, I am right now managing my own hedge fund. I work with a lot of HNIs. I am also an HNI now. The strategies that I'm using to curate my portfolio from this point might be very, very different from the way that you should be doing it. The reason why I revealed this entire journey in a very quick, succinct manner is so as to do 2 things. One is that to give you the idea that, hey, if you are a sensible investor, if you are able to consistently beat segmental inflation for yourself, you will be able to build a big portfolio. That's one key area. Number 2, investing is not a roadmap to freedom. Okay, now you'll get confused. Then why are you running your channel? Investing is not a roadmap to freedom. What do you mean? See, I made my wealth by doing active work. A lot of people disappoint, like, a lot of stock market analysts. कि यार आपको आती कितना है? How much profit do you make? See, I have been consistently profitable in the market. Every year I reveal my P&L, but that is passive investing for me. Now, what is the meaning of passive investing? Passive investing simply means कि यार it does not take me more than 10 minutes a day to manage my portfolio, however X million dollar it is, right? So that's the honest thing about it. So now, because I'm only investing little bit of time on it, it's a source of income for me. It's not my primary income, so to say, and it should never be my primary income. Okay, so that because it is passive in nature. Now, active in nature means what? Well, active in nature is something that helps you generate new cash flows. For example, I am working on my hedge fund. I do real estate investing. I am building my own resort. I run a YouTube channel. I am writing my books, etc., etc. So these are all active sources of income, because every day I get up, I work for like whatever, 4, 5, 6 hours, or how many hours I want to work. And this is what is helping me build my wealth going forward, right? So that's the viewpoint. Many people confuse and unnecessarily disk, you know what, अच्छा ये YouTuber ने YouTube करके पैसा कमा लिया and all that stuff. Folks, try doing it. No one is discouraging you from doing it, but the fact remains that if you want to make money on YouTube or playing cricket or doing your job, you need to be excellent at it. You need to add value to others. Only then your YouTube channel will grow. You will grow in your job. You will grow in XYZ field, whichever field is of your choosing. So these are two critical points that I want to outline very, very honestly. That see, if you want to make money in the stock market, you cannot depend on a regular source of income from the stock market. The day you start depending on your stock market income is the day you will get desperate to make horrible moves in the stock market, and that will just spell doom for you. Okay. Now, let me further illustrate that point by talking about human psychology. So, for example, in 2008, the stock market in India corrected by roughly 60%. In 2020, it corrected by roughly 40, 50 odd percent. Now, if you're someone who is entirely dependent on the stock market for your survival, how would you cope up psychologically seeing 40, 50% correction on your portfolio? You will not be able to process it. It will be very hard for you to get up in the morning, see like a 5% drop on your portfolio, next day coming back up, and again seeing a 5-10% drop on your portfolio. You will go mad, right? So that's very, very honestly, I'm telling you. So what's the key takeaway here? The key takeaway from my journey, and I will just write it down. So 3 key takeaways. Number 1, that you invest in the stock market or invest in real estate or invest in something to beat your segmental inflation. स्टॉक मार्केट इज़ अ वंडरफुल इंस्ट्रूमेंट टू प्रिजर्व योर वेल्थ. स्टॉक मार्केट ठीक है, वो टेक्निकली आपकी वेल्थ ग्रो कर देती है. म्यूचुअल फंड मैनेजर्स कम एंड गिव लाइक फालतू की चीज़ें कि यू नो व्हाट, कंपाउंडिंग इज द 8th वंडर ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, एंड इफ यू वुड हैव इन्वेस्टेड लाइक 1 lakh rupee today, after 50 years this will become like 50 lakhs or whatever. Great, but inflation will also be there. So this value is not 50 lakh, or the buying power of this 50 lakh is not 50 lakhs after 50 years. Okay, it will be much, much less, right? So please keep that in mind. Yeah, so the idea of investing is very simple to beat segmental inflation. Unfortunately, if you came to this channel with the goal, you know what, we will become a billionaire by investing, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So that's the honest point that I can tell you. So what you need to do is that you need to focus on your active income streams. You need to grow and learn how to build new businesses, how to improve upon your job, how to switch jobs, become more skilled with time, create parallel income streams that will actually generate almost an infinite return on your skills, right? So this is where your focus should be. Now, the good part is that, see, if you're a good investor and you're consistently generating above segmental inflation returns for you, then what does that do? Well, it allows you to take a lot of risks. For example, by 2016-17, by the time I had graduated from INSEAD, built a little bit of wealth through my job, I was in a position कि ठीक है यार, you know what, अगर if I'm looking to quit my job, I can quit it. I can try to run a few companies for 2-3 years and see how it goes, right? Now, in order to get that flexibility, what do I need to do? I need to actually create a decent enough portfolio to begin with. Yesterday, one lady reached out to me and she asked, and she said that, you know what, Akshat, I'm like 35, 36. I am a single lady and there is a home that I bought. I have zero equity investment. I have purchased a house. I'm paying an EMI and I recently lost my job. So is there any advice that you would like to give me? Now, guys, honestly, I cannot give any advice on that. Neither any investment advisor can give you any advice on that. The reason is that when you are looking to invest your money, it's very easy to do it. You can literally, like, you know, there are 1000 options that you can pick in terms of investing. But if you make bad investment decisions, you can have 50 crores of wealth and you can overnight turn that into dust. So therefore, understanding portfolio construction is critical. Okay. So What is the portfolio construction rule? Well, it's very simple. See, divide your portfolio into 3 buckets. Number 1, emergency fund. This is literally step number 1. You can be 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old. But if you do not have emergency money to survive, it's pretty much pointless. This is the number 1 goal of investing. Second is that you need to have growth assets on your portfolio which are liquid. Now, what is the meaning of growth assets which are liquid? For example, if you simply pick Nifty 50 or if you pick blue chip companies, all these are what? Well, they are likely to beat segmental inflation. They are, on an average, they will grow at like 12%, 13%. They are not going to crush your wealth, right? And unless there is an entire broad market correction, and they are easy to liquidate. You can sell these stocks whenever you like. So therefore, having exposure to growth stocks is your second key point. यहाँ पे आप रिटर्न के बारे में ज़्यादा मत सोचना कि you know what, I need to make like 30% return, 40% return, this, that stuff. Third key concept is that you also need to have cash flow assets at the right time. For example, if your portfolio is, let's say, 50 lakh, okay, and then if you're deciding that, you know what, I'm going to purchase a 1 crore real estate, it makes sense. Why? Because 20 lakh you can put down payment, 80 lakh you can take a loan, and by growing this portfolio, you can offset a lot of your EMI. And if you are buying a ready unit real estate, then what will happen is that you can get some cash flows from here, and then again you can use that in order to offset your EMI. But if you get yourself in a situation where you do not have any liquid growth assets to begin with, you're dependent on one job to pay your EMI for a house, then the only course of action would have been to not get into such a deal to begin with, right? I hope that I'm able to communicate this hyper complicated but extremely critical point, and many of you would resonate with it. There is no mathematical formula that, hey, here is how you go and build your portfolio. There is nothing like it, but you need to have a sense of where to be first. First, you have to have handle on emergency fund, then little bit of growth money, then finally cash flow assets. Now comes the next very important point that, hey Akshat, cash flow. Now what is the meaning of cash flow? Can you explain it, right? And can I not build these cash flow assets by going to the stock market? Because for example, if I buy ITC type of stock, I get dividends, right? So why shouldn't I just invest all my money in equities? See, this is a point that mutual fund managers and mutual fund investors keep on harping कि भाई आपकी सिर्फ equity में growth है, nothing else is there, only equity, equity, equity. Okay guys, so I will teach you some advanced stuff here. See, what is the meaning of cash flow? Cash flow means that, for example, if you have purchased this house for 1 CR, okay, and if you are saving rent, कि आपको rent नहीं pay करनी, you are living in this house, or you are able to rent out this house at 4 lakh a year, then what is the cash flow? The cash flow is 4 lakh rupees per year. Now, 2-3 questions come up that, hey, you know what, my yield is only 2%, not 4%, all this stuff. See, I don't want to get into that. It depends on your scouting ability. There are enough real estate in India where you can easily get 6 to 8% yield. I am doing it. You guys come visit my real estate in Goa. You are more than welcome. It's address मांग लेना, I will give you. नहीं, address नहीं दूंगा, on public platform I cannot give. But you guys can Google it up, you can look it up, right? And you can go and visit it. You yourself can inquire कि भाई इसमें कितना rent आता है roughly. Okay, so you will be able to do that exercise. So I am telling you that real estate can help you generate 6-8%. Point is that you must know how. Okay. So anyways, coming back to the topic that, hey, why can't we just simply pick something like ITC that I am getting like 10 lakh and ITC gives me like whatever 5% dividend? Why not that? Okay. Lot of reasons. Okay. The number one thing is that the dividend distribution tax in India is now taxed at slab. Okay. Now what is the meaning of that? भाई पहले जो dividend आता था उस पे 15% लगता था, right? Now dividends or dividend income has become not that useful, right, to be honest, because you have to worry about your after tax benefits. Now you'll say that, okay, the same thing applies to house also. Yes, it does. But on house, if your property is on loan, then you get interest offsetting. Okay, so that's an advantage. Many people register a business, right, around managing their properties, all that stuff. So business optimization bhi aap kar sakte ho and all that stuff, which is not possible to do on stocks. Dividend income in India or cash flow income in India is very, very hard to generate because we are a very high tax country. Now, this is how it is. I cannot do anything on it. This is point one. Point two is that, see, you have to worry about the future. Right now, what is happening is that if I ask you very basic stuff, for example, FD pay, what is the tax? You will say that, okay, I'm taxed at slab. So if you're a rich guy, you are essentially getting taxed at 30% plus bracket, correct? Now, what about real estate? Ki real estate pe aapne cash flow generate kara and you have no interest on that, right? कि आपको कोई EMI नहीं पे करनी and all that stuff, then you are essentially could be paying 30%. But होता क्या है कि basically if you are having real estate and you are creating this portfolio for you after retirement, okay, retirement, कि आपको लगेगा कि यार बस मैं घर बैठूं and I just count notes, okay, so then cash flow from real estate helps because then your income is less. तो यहाँ पे आपका tax कम लगेगा, so to say. But anyways, coming back, the more important point that I want to tell you is that see, on equities right now the long term capital gains tax is 10%. Here on real estate the long term capital gains tax is 20%. ऑन FD तो होता ही नहीं है लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन्स, उसमें सीधे आपका 30% लग जाता है. ओके, नो व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज गोइंग टू हैपन इन द फ्यूचर, राइट? लुकिंग एट दिस सिनेरियो, what is going to happen is that on equities your long term capital gain structure is likely to change. It will change. आप लिख के ले लो, right? In the next 2 to 3 years it is very high probability that this will change. This will at least become 15%. Now the moment this shift happens, what do you think will happen to the entire equity market? Well, so it will either go sideways or there will be a sharp correction. Now, if 100% of your money is stuck in equities, it becomes a problem. Therefore, investing across asset class is one of the key things that I'm doing in my portfolio right now. Many of us do not know these back-end things. And ये समझ में ही नहीं आती, right? I mean, when actually फटकार लगेगी, right? That okay, 100% of our money is in equity, and suddenly some tax rule changes, and then suddenly we see like a 15-20% dip in our portfolio. That is when we start panicking. So that panic should not be there, and therefore we should always have a combination of number 1 cash flow assets, number 2 emergency, ये तो literally सबसे पहला step होता है, and third is growth assets. All 3 of them serve a very specific purpose to your portfolio. I hope that you enjoyed this advanced point. I teach many such structured advanced points on my course which can actually have a massive impact on your portfolio. So definitely go and check it out. It's a small plug. So let me further continue the story, and now let me tell you 7-8 critical points that you should know in order to construct a good portfolio. Okay. So number 1 thing is that equity investing right now is the most tax efficient investing in India. Why? Especially for an investor, because as investors we do not take out our money every one year, or rather we should not take out our money every one year. Okay, so long term capital gains right now is 10%. So definitely if you are looking for growth investing, you should go to equities. Individual investing आपको आनी चाहिए. Don't just simply depend on mutual funds. Why? Okay, this is again a very beautiful question. Because commissions these days are literally killing you, right? Now, how exactly? उसकी भी मैं आपको gravity बताता हूँ. Let's say that you're in a good job, you are making 25,000 rupees a month, okay? And you're 30 years old, so another 40 years you will do SIP, okay? Now, the fact is that almost 85% of actively managed mutual funds do not beat their respective benchmarks, okay? So, for example, Nifty 50 is the benchmark for एक्टिवली मैनेज लार्ज कैप म्यूचुअल फंड्स. अब मैं आपको इसका इम्प्लीकेशन बताता हूँ. ओके, सो नाउ व्हाट डज दैट मीन? आप मान के चलो कि निफ्टी 50 में यू आर मेकिंग 12%, 12.5% रिटर्न. यहाँ पे आप कमीशन दे के, राइट, एटलीस्ट देयर विल बी अ डिफरेंशियल ऑफ 1.5%. हाउ? Because return is lower to begin with, right, as pointed by meta studies. And number 2, large cap actively managed mutual funds will at least charge you 0.5% to 1%. Okay, so at least 1.5% का आप loss मान लो. Now, if you do this, what is your portfolio size in 40 years? It's 18.5 crores. And if we go back simply to Nifty 50 investing, what is our portfolio size? It's 30 crores. How much is the portfolio difference? It's more than 50% of your portfolio. That's how big the difference is between 18 crores and 30 crores. So जो हमें लगता है ना कि 1% difference ही तो है, 1.5% difference ही तो है, and it does not matter. So that is a very strange way of looking at things. You need to be financially aware. You need to understand how much money you are giving to your money managers and whether or not they have the ability to actually beat the market. Most of them do not, unfortunately. अगर होती तो this would have been a different scenario. So I hope that this second key point is clear to everyone. Third key point is that, see, you should delay the purchase of a house if possible until and unless your emergency bucket is built, until and unless a liquid growth bucket is built. Now, I cannot tell you the exact numbers ki 20 lakh honi chahiye, 20, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, whatever it is. It really depends on you. But if you just simply ask me that after you have purchased a house at, let's say, 80% leverage, 80% leverage का मतलब यह कि for example ये आपका घर है and you have made a down payment of 20 lakhs for this 1 crore house, 80 you have purchased on loan. Okay. So what is the total value of the asset that you own? It's 1 crore here, correct? Okay. Now, at least here, you should have 30 to 50 lakhs in liquid assets. This will put less stress on you. In case you are out of a job, you can always manage this portfolio well, generate some alpha in order to offset your EMI. Problem in a country like India is that our cost of borrowing, जैसे अपना home loan rate, is very very high. It's close to 8.5%, 9% also. In Singapore, that's 3.5%, 4%. Okay, and their FD rate is 3%. Their home loan rate is 8.5%. In India, FD rate is 7%. On top of that, the taxation is very very high, and home loan rates are crazy high. Okay, so please remember all these points. These are absolutely critical points. Hardly anyone speaks about it, but this is going to have a massive impact on you financially. The next key point is that house is a great cash flow asset or a cash saving asset. I would highly recommend that once this is built, you should definitely start looking at a house. Now people come after me कि भाई आप तो house के खिलाफ हो, you know, and you always used to say that house is a bad asset. This, that. No guys, I have been saying and I have maintained my position that high rise, high density houses, box in the sky, those are bad. I have been owning properties since 2016. Okay, I own multiple properties. I do not own a house where I live. But I have multiple residential units that are on Airbnb, which are generating rental income for me. I am a diversified investor. I have nothing to prove by getting you into equities or getting you into real estate. For me, money is money. I'm putting X amount of money on an asset class, khatam baat, right? So wherever the opportunity I see, I will go and invest that. It has got nothing to do with money. I'm not like married to equities, and I'm not married to like a house, so to say. Wherever opportunities are, wherever I feel that my portfolio needs to be restructured, I take steps accordingly. Natural question comes कि यार हम तो फिर REITs खरीद लें या SGB खरीद लें. No, see, I'm not pro it. Now we need to have an elaborate discussion on that, so I will not jump into it. Please do more study on your side. If you just want to know my perspective, I am against these type of derivative instruments. I do not think that they present a realistic picture. I'm very happy to get into details, explain you the entire taxation and all that stuff, which I anyways do on my courses. On open channels, I cannot make this because companies come after me. So anyways, continuing. The point number 5, that your after tax returns is what matters. For example, if you're doing FD, you might feel that, okay, great, I'm making like 7.5%, but bhai, you are paying probably 30% if you're in a high net worth category. So tax efficiency wise, debt instruments are not that great. It is good to lock in some money in debt from an emergency perspective, but rest of your money should go to good efficient instruments. Now you will have a natural question that, hey, then I should not buy a house because if someday I sell, then long-term capital gains is 20. Fair enough point, but see, you should never buy a house to trade to begin with, right? Now this is the same thing. For example, you might be seeing a lot of townships coming in Bangalore, Mumbai, this, that stuff. What do builders tell you? Builders tell you कि भाई आप आज खरीद लो. After 6 months it anyways will rise. You can sell it. Bhai, what will be your capital gains on that? That will be short-term capital gains. I think it is 30%. You guys can correct me in the comment. So all those points need to be considered. Buy a house for cash flow. That is the utility. That when you are 60, if you have bought a really good house, it allows you to save rent. It allows you to rent it out. And at that time, rent will definitely go up. So it adjusts from that angle. House is a cash flow asset. Either it generates cash flow or it saves cash flow for you. That's the utility of a house. Next key point, that pick an investment style that you can persist with. Now, many of you, especially youngsters, they are like FNO कर लेंगे, trading करेंगे दिन भर बैठ के. It's pointless. You are losing your active time, which you could have spent by improving your skills, generating additional sources of income. You are making 3%, 4% returns or whatever, right? And it just not is worth it, right? Get skilled somewhere else. Moving money from point A to point B is not that exciting way of living your life. It sounds very fascinating. I'm running a hedge fund. I explore a lot of opportunities, but I explore arbitrages. So मैं कभी और बात करूँगा that how a hedge fund exactly operates and what exact thesis that I explore. But to cut the long story short, you should create an investment style which you can do with your job. And investing, compared to trading, flipping, FNO and all that stuff, positional trading, measuring RSI, MACD, all that is nonsense. Please do not get into all that. Learn how to analyze businesses. What is a good business, bad business? Take bets, stick with those bets for a fairly long period of time. That is how most of the investors, 90-95% of the investors should operate. Then comes the final point, that always combine low risk strategies with high risk strategies. That's one way of graduating from buying blue chip stocks. Okay, so my journey, taking you back, started with mutual funds, then went to blue chip stocks, then went to a combination of low risk plus high risk strategies. Let me give you an example. For example, two stocks that I keep speaking about. HDFC Bank, is it a low risk asset, high risk asset? Well, it's low. उसने return नहीं दिया, that's a separate argument altogether. But none of us can come out and say that, you know, एकदम फुद्दू बैंक है, बेकार बैंक है, इसमें risk बहुत ज़्यादा है. No, nothing like that, right? I mean, price is not really in our control. Business analysis is. So from a business analysis point of view, there is nothing wrong with HDFC. Now that's a low risk asset. What is a high risk asset? Well, I also picked a stock called as Nuvama Wealth. Now that has given a lot of run up in the last 3-4 months. I had also picked Ujjivan Small Finance. That has given 100% run up. I picked PNB at a time. From there, it gave like 105, 110% run up. I exited the position. These are all fairly higher risk stocks. So you always need to combine low risk with high risk. This is your next step towards graduating into your portfolio management journey. The objective of this channel is to help you manage your own portfolio, save all those commissions. Again, take a look at this particular calculation that I showed you on the video. This will blow your mind. It's absolutely critical that you understand it. This is going to impact not only you, but your future generations. Be sensible, be smart, learn how to manage your money. I hope that with me discussing my journey very, very honestly of creating a multi-million-dollar portfolio, I was able to transparently communicate to you that, hey, how did my portfolio exactly grow? What journey did I go through? What are some key things that I learned along the way? This could become a really, really detailed video. Consider this to be an introduction for portfolio building. If you enjoyed this, do press the like button and let me know in the comments. This will give me an idea that you would want me to make this type of content also. And hopefully it helps you gain a better perspective about managing your own portfolio. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.